The Adventure of the BERYL Coronet. New visitor tells his story.
Holmes, I said, looking out of the window down the road. Here is a madman coming along. My friend left his armchair and came up to the window. It was a bright, cold February morning. The snow was shining brightly in the winter sun. The strange man was coming along the road. He was about 50 years old and was wearing expensive clothes. He was running in a great hurry, and his hands were moving up and down. He was shaking his head and making mad faces. "What on earth is the matter with him?" I asked. "He is looking up at the number of the houses." "I believe he's coming here, my dear Watson," said Holmes. "Yes, I think he's coming to consult me professionally. Did I not tell you?" As he spoke, the man ran up to our door and rang the bell, making a great noise. A few minutes later, he was in the room. He looked so worried and his face was so white that we were filled with pity. He was out of breath, and for some time he could not speak. Sherlock Holmes made him sit down on the chair near the fire. "Sir, you've come to tell me your story, haven't you?" he said. "You were in a hurry and have tired yourself. Have a rest, and then I'll be most happy to look into your problem." The man sat for a long minute, looking down, then he turned his face to us. "You think I'm mad, don't you?" he said. "As far as I can see, you have some great trouble," answered Holmes. "God knows I have. The trouble is so sudden and terrible, and it's not I alone. The most noble in the country will have great problems if I cannot find an answer to this terrible problem. You are my last hope, Mr. Holmes. Tell me who you are and what your problem is, sir, and I will try," said Holmes. "My name," answered the visitor, "is Alexander Holder. I am the head of the bank of Holder and Stevenson in London." The name was well known, and we waited for an unusual story. "I feel that there is no time to lose, and that's why I was in a hurry on the way here. The police inspector advised me to come to you. Now when I feel better, I'm going to tell you my story as short and clean as I can. Yesterday morning, I was sitting in my office. A bank officer came to say that a visitor wanted to see me. I was surprised to hear the visitor's name. It was a very famous one, known all over the world, one of the highest and most noble names in England. When he came in, I understood that he was in a hurry and rather worried. 'Mr. Holder,' he said, 'I know that you often lend money to people. It is most important to have £50,000 at once. Can you leave me with something of value to keep until you bring the money back?' I said. 'Yes, perhaps you have heard of the BERYL Coronet, one of the most expensive things in the country.' 'Certainly I have.' The visitor opened his case. Inside there lay the most beautiful piece of jewelry. 'There are 39 large barrels,' he said. 'Its price is, I think it's twice more, so I will leave it with you.' I took the coronet in my hand and looked at the man. 'Ah, you think it's not mine? I would certainly not do so if I weren't not sure that I shall be able to ask you for it in 4 days' time, when I am able to repay you the money. All I ask is that it be a secret, and that you take care of the crown. There will be great trouble if anything wrong happens to it.' I called for his bank officer and ordered him to pay out £50,000 to the visitor. When this visitor left the bank, I looked at the coronet and thought, why did I agree to keep it? But it was too late to change anything, so I locked it up in my safe. When the evening came, I decided that it was not clever to leave it at the bank. I'll carry the coronet in the case with me for the next few days, I thought. So I went home, carrying the BERYL coronet in the case. When I came home, I took it upstairs and locked it in the desk of my dressing room. You know, Mr. Holmes, I'm not a married man, but in my house I have my son Arthur and a young girl Mary, my niece. There are 2 servants who don't sleep in the house and 3 women servants who I believe absolutely. My son is the only troublemaker. People tell me I have spoiled him. When my wife died, he was all I had to love. Arthur doesn't want to work in the bank. He has an easy life with his rich friends. He enjoys parties and horses and playing cards. His friends are rich, and so he spends more money than I gave him. Sir George Burnwell is one of his friends, and he often comes to our house. He's much older than Arthur, one who has been everywhere and seen everything. He's a brilliant talker, and a man of great personal beauty. I don't trust him. Mary is the daughter of my brother who died 5 years ago. She's sweet, loving and beautiful, and as quiet and gentle as a woman should be. I don't know what I would do without her. Twice Arthur asked her to marry him, but twice she said no to him. Now, Mr. Holmes, you know the people who live under my roof. I shall go on with my story. When we were having coffee that night after dinner, I told Arthur and Mary about the BERYL coronet. What a day I've had. I have to look after it until the next week. It's too expensive to leave at the bank, so I must keep it with me for a few days. Where have you put it? Asked Arthur. In my dressing room upstairs. It's locked in the desk. Well, I hope thieves won't get inside our house at night, said Arthur. Oh, and any old key will open it. When I was young, I often opened it myself. When our dinner was over, Arthur followed me into my room. Look, father, he said, can you let me have £200? No, I can't, I answered angrily. You have been very kind, said Arthur, but I must have the money, or I won't be able to meet my friends again. I hope you will not. All right, but you don't want me to bring shame on your name. I must have the money, and if you won't give it to me, I'll try to find it. I was very angry because it was the third time during the month. Arthur left the room and I opened the desk, saw that the coronet was safe and closed it again. Then I started to go round the house and make sure that every door and every window was closed. Downstairs I saw Mary. She was standing near the window. When I came up to her, she quickly closed and locked it. Tell me, Dad, said she, looking a little worried. Did you let Lucy go out tonight? Certainly not. She came in just now by the back door. I'm sure that she has been out to see someone, but I think that it's hardly safe. It should be stopped. You must speak to her in the morning, or I will. Are you sure that everything is locked? Quite sure that. Then, good night. I kissed her and went up to my bedroom again, where I was soon asleep.